So, welcome back to episode 3 of this ridiculous show that I call my podcast. Today I have a weird experience from my past couple of days that I finally boiled over into something, and I'm taking this strange and slightly weird opportunity to get this off my chest, for lack of a better term, to vent a little bit about it. But I also want it to be educational for anybody watching or listening to this later a little bit, coming from the perspective of just your average everyday person if something like this happens to you. Sorry, I keep fiddling with the camera because I'm not sure exactly what to do with it. Anyways, so the story goes that for real this time, excuse me about that, had to cough. The story goes is that a couple days ago, one of my friends, not necessarily approached me, but they messaged me. They texted me about this thing. A couple of my friends actually, there's two. They're brothers, but mm, that's besides the point. They texted me a couple days ago about uh, a potential business opportunity, a potential job opportunity that they had been working on slash with that they think I might be interested in. And as a broke college student looking for a job and pretending like this is my job and trying to make internet on the money, let me switch that around. I can't speak. Trying to make my money on the internet. I don't know why I can't speak like that. This is, you hear something like this, and I've always been taught that you should look into opportunities, and especially when it comes to business stuff. I mean, I'm getting a little older. It's my birthday at the end of the month. I kind of need to figure out what direction I need to start heading in with my life and stuff like that. So potential job, potential business, potential source of income, another source of income that could make my life easier and make it a little better for me. Um, maybe something that'll cover my rent so my other money can go to tuition and groceries and I won't have to scrape every single penny I've got. Um, so that happened, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. They're like, yeah, they texted me this on Monday, morning ish, afternoon ish. I don't know. I woke up kind of late that day, if I'm gonna be 100% honest. And it's like, okay, sounds potentially interesting. I'll give it a shot. I'll see what's up. I'll find out what's what. And they're like, yeah, there's gonna be a meeting about it on Wednesday over Zoom. So you can learn everything. Because I was asking questions, and this was my first tip off to like maybe something's up a little bit. Is I was asking questions as to like, what's the name of the brand, what's the name of the business, stuff like that. And they're like, oh well, just come to the meeting on Wednesday, and you'll learn all of that then. And especially since it had to do with nutritional stuff. They said it was like a nutrition company and stuff like that. I was a little cautious, a little sketched out about it, just a little bit. But I was like, maybe, I'll at least give it a shot. It's not going to cost me any money to go. It's just going to cost me my time to go to this short 30-minute meeting and learn what's what. So today rolls around earlier tonight, and I get on Zoom and I get into this meeting. And probably, first off, a 30-minute meeting turned into an hour-long meeting. Now, this is nothing new to me as a college student who is only taking online classes right now. Meetings go over all the time. It's just a simple fact of life. I don't know. I'm doing this out of nervous habit, by the way. I would like to pretend I can grow a beard so I can stroke it and look all wise like that, but it's not what's the case. Just a little bit of stubble. Anyways, but the way they pitched their meeting was very, very strange. The way they pitched their business. It started off on a pretty good note. Everybody that's there, you know, hi, these are the people that, I'm the person that's heading this off. These are the people that I work with. You guys are here because we've been told by other individuals that work with us. Excuse me. Other individuals that work with us have suggested that you might be interested in what we have to offer. And I don't know. In the back of my mind, there was this small glimmer of hope. This small glimmer of hope that like maybe this offer would be good. Maybe it would be beneficial for me. Um, you know, because they had mentioned that it had to do with like a nutrition company. I was like, well, maybe they said it would be beneficial to me because I compete in strength sports, on on a very amateur level. I compete in strength sports. I have this Twitch channel. I have a YouTube. I'm an affiliate on Twitch. I have a small following. I have some know-abouts in certain communities and stuff that deal a lot with nutrition. So it's like maybe they're looking for somebody to be kind of like a salesperson, somebody to sell their brand, Oh, put stuff up on your Instagram story, put a banner on your Twitch channel, stuff like that. And that honestly wouldn't have surprised me at all, and I was kind of looking forward to that. Something that I could negotiate with them and be like, yeah, hey, I usually per month I get about X amount of people in views and something like that. So, and I usually have X amount of views per stream. If it's about this long, X amount of views per hour. So if you pay me X amount of dollars every month or every other week in order to put stuff up on my stream or to advertise on my Instagram, stuff like that, then I'd be more than willing to do it. Like if you want to give me income to advertise your product, I'm chill with that. I will do it because it makes paying for rent and tuition easier. I need to stop saying in between my sentences. That's the goal for the rest of this podcast. But that didn't happen. Instead, what happened was we spent 45 minutes or so with them talking about, how, the woman that ran it, talking about how wonderful the product was, which obviously, if anybody is selling their business to you, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to convince you on how good the product is and why you need it in your life, which is exactly what you're supposed to. I said, again. Which is exactly what you're supposed to do when you're selling a business or a product to somebody. And then they had a couple testimonials from other individuals who had been using their products for a while and or had worked with them for a little bit of time and how it had affected their life. And that is another really good thing to do. Then came the issues. You see, we had spent 45 minutes, I'd spent 45 minutes sitting on a computer watching, not being able to talk, not being able to comment, just watching their presentation, which is pretty standard, if I'm going to admit it, for my college classes. But this is basically a sales pitch. I haven't been able to ask any questions. So then they get on to the part that, this is where their pitch starts to crumble. They get onto what I need to do to be part of the business. Now, normally you think if I have a friend who invites me to something as a potential job opportunity, they have probably one already talked to the people about who I am and what I do and how I can help the company. And two, basically at that point, it should just be a small little interview, and then whether or not they're willing to hire me or not. How much will I get paid? What are their compensations going to be like? That sort of thing. Every time I've been introduced to a job by somebody else, which has been the majority of the jobs I've had in my life, and by majority, I think there's only been one job I've worked where I wasn't introduced to the job by someone else. And that was because the job was at a gym back at home where I had been training at for the past year or so, and so they already knew who I was. And so I didn't need anybody else to introduce me. But every other time I've been introduced to a job opportunity, my friend talks to the person and basically sets up an interview for me. At least this is how it's worked for me. This probably hasn't been the same story for everybody. My friend sets up an interview for me, and then I go in, hey, your friend, and they say something along the lines of, hey, your friend has been mentioned you to us. This is what they said. This is what we expect out of the job. What are your expectations? Do our expectations align? And the pay you're going to get. Okay, cool. That works for me. This was not that. I sat there didn't get able to talk for 45 minutes or so. And it was one of those things where I wasn't promised pay, which is the first warning sign of a job like this. It was like, oh, you can do, you only have to work a couple hours every week or month, and you can make thousands of dollars. That's another bad sign, in my book, because they're not guaranteeing that you can do that, but you can. And it is true that there are some people that work for the company that do make their money like that. Every time somebody says something like that, it's because it's based on a true story. There are people that work for them that have that experience. Unfortunately, what they don't tell you is a small percentage of the people that work there where that actually happens for them. That's why we have right down the road from my apartment complex. I live in a college town. Right down the road from my apartment complex, there's are they home security? It's like an alarm sales, a home alarm system company outpost, whatever you want to call it. Just like 2 streets down from where I live, and they look for college students to go out during their off semesters and sell their product for them. And the way they advertise is, hey, you make commission off of what you sell. This guy here, he went out he worked for 2 months out of the year. He made tens of thousands of dollars. And look, he drives a fancy truck, or he drives a cool sports car or something like that. And they always have him parked right out in the front, and it's directly across the street from campus. And so you see it every time. Every time I walk to and from campus, well, I'm not really walking anymore, but every time I walk to and from campus, that's what I'm seeing is these very nice cars outside a very nice office. And that's basically what this company was trying to do. Oh, hey, these people, they only work for a couple hours, but they have all this money and nice stuff. What they don't tell you is that there's only a few people that happens for. The majority of employees don't have that experience. They'll still get paid, they'll still make money, but they're not going to be making, tens of thousands in 2 months, that sort of thing. So that was another red flag for me personally on how their sales pitch was starting to go south a little bit. And then probably one of the biggest red flags showed up, which was I wasn't being hired. I was being given an offer to buy into the business. They pulled up this panel on their little presentation they had where you could, depending on what you wanted to do and how you wanted to start, you needed to pay X amount of dollars to get the season pass or something like that. You know, something to that effect to get the season pass. Ooh. I say that because I play a lot of games and they do season passes all the time. Basically, you have on a season pass, you have like the unpaid track, which is like it gives you stuff every like 5 to 10 levels on the season pass, or you can pay for it and you get stuff every single level on the season pass. Same business concept. You can pay the lowest amount and we'll give you like the bare minimums to start with, or you can pay a little bit more and you'll get a little extra, or you can pay our premium offer and you get everything plus, online coaching and a boost to whatever your point sales are. Like they had a thing where like every time you made sales, you got a certain number of points on their system, and based off how many points on the system you got a month, depending on how much you got paid. It was weird. I said again. It was weird. The thing that got me the most was the prices. I'm a college student that isn't working full time right now, and I'm recovering from a knee surgery, so I can't go out and get a construction job like I did back at home and make good money for manual labor. I work part-time stuff and I'm barely making enough money to scrape by already. And their buy-in price, lowest price to be part of the business, not even to have guaranteed success, but to just be a part of the business. It's $500. That was their lowest. Now, I realize that not every college student is like me. But I also realize that the decent amount of us are like me, where you have things going and you're doing the best you can. You're making ends meet, but you live paycheck to paycheck, and all your money goes to the essentials. They go to tuition, they go to rent, and they go to food, and that's it. And maybe you have extra cash left over at the end of the month. More than likely, you don't. And when I say you live paycheck to paycheck, like your bank account is small. It's very small. You don't. Maybe you're smarter than me, and you've been able to save money better. But that was their. Oh yeah, you pay us $500, and you can be a part of the business. Maybe you can make money with us. All you got to do is work a couple hours a week. That was another red flag for me. The final straw. Well, no, I won't say the final straw. The another thing that kind of maybe not red flag, but trashed their business presentation, in my opinion, is that they talked about the owners of the company and the 3 families that started it up, or the three owners, and they had photos of them with their families. The 3 people that started it up. One of the things I distinctly remember them saying is that the guy who was I don't even remember the guy's name, but I remember them saying something, not something along the lines of, they did say that one of the main guys that started the company that they wanted to pitch to us he had his money from oil. That's where he made his living from. And like, good for him, because that's an insanely profitable business. But it's also kind of sounding like he can run this company just because he can. Does that make sense? Um, they're talking about, oh, 95% of the sales and stuff go to the employees, not the owners, and whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because the owners aren't counting on this business to be super profitable. If it is profitable, good job. But if it's just breaking even and it's not that big of a deal, they're not going to worry about it because all their money is made elsewhere. They're not necessarily invested in the business. They're just invested in, is the business doing okay, if that makes sense? Is the business staying afloat? Is it a profitable investment? And if it's not, then who knows what's going to happen? One of the other things that really bugged me about the presentation was the woman that was kind of the head of the presentation. She did a very good job presenting it, but she said a line where she mentioned that after working for 21 years for one company, she made more in like a year working for this company than she did working for the other company for 21 years. Like, what were you doing? Working, flipping burgers at McDonald's for 21 years for minimum wage or something? Like, you started off the presentation with all your degrees and certifications and stuff. You should have been making tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars every year just with what you had. So that didn't make any sense to me either. The final straw that broke the camel's back, for lack of a better term, was when the question period did roll around. At the end of it, the lady in charge started to ask questions specifically to the people that had been invited to the meeting. And props to her, she knew who was who, like whose name was whose, and who had invited them as well, which is very good from a business professional perspective, especially for somebody like me who struggles with names and faces, and keeping everybody straight. Took me about a month into coaching a football team before I learned half their names. Anyways, so props to her for doing that. But she gets around to me and, Joseph, do you have any questions? And I was like, yeah, I do actually. I was like, I'm just going to be very upfront and honest with you on this. I do not have the money to invest myself in the business. But if you want me, I have this influence, I have this circle, granted small, but it's there. And if you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to advertise for your company or sell for your company or whatever. Basically, I need you to invest in me first before I can invest in your company. This is how I see how most jobs roll. Even if it's your first job that's minimum wage or something, one of the things that's always asked straight up front is, how much money are you expecting to make, or how much do you expect we pay you? I can tell you about one of my, not my last job I had, but the job before that when I worked for this construction company back at home. I lowballed myself so hard. Are you kidding me? The construction company sold windows and doors, and I was on the installation crew to high-end customers. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of houses. I used to live on the East Coast. I can count on one hand the number of customers whose houses we worked on that weren't directly on the water. Everything was a beach house or a house on the river or a house on a lake or out on the peninsula. It was amazing. But I lowballed myself super hard. But during the interview, my boss at the time, how much are you expecting to make? And I've been paid this much at my other jobs. You need to pay me at least this much in order for this job to be worth my time. I think I said like 14 or $15 an hour. And you know what he said? He went, sure, why not? Because he was paying people tens of thousands of dollars a year to work for him. And then here comes this kid who's just like, yeah, I'll work for basically dirt cheap for for how much money your company makes. I'll work for dirt cheap. But that was the expectation was I will invest in you this much money if you invest your time in the company. Cool. And that's how it worked when at my last job at a gym. Hey, we won't be able to pay you as much money as your construction job, but this is how much we start your pay. We'll invest this much money in you if you invest this much time in the gym. Awesome. Very straightforward. So that's what I presented to these people that were making the sales pitch to me. I said, look, in order for me to I'm down with doing this if this is what you want me to do. Sounds like I can make a decent amount of money off of it. But I need you to invest in me before I can invest in the company. In other words, can you guarantee me money, pay, before I spend money on your company? I'm $500 a month, $400 or $500 a month. That's like my rent. You're asking me, somebody who has to scrape together every penny that they have, to spend my month of rent money and risk the chance of getting evicted to invest in your company with no guaranteed outcome. How's that supposed to benefit me? And I told them this. I need you to invest in me before I invest in the company. You need to be able to guarantee me something. I told them I am broke. I don't have the money to invest in this company, to buy into your business model. And they gave me a response. The lady had a response, and her response was, we've had other individuals like this before who haven't been able to, initially, they haven't had the money, but they were able to work in such a way, work something out so that they would have the money to buy into our business model. And the specific story they told me was, we have an individual who didn't have enough money to do this, and so he sold his car in order to be able to pay for this. And now he is successful. So they want me to sell my car in order to work for them. My car that is my only mode of transportation. My car that is paid off in a month. My car that is the only reason I have the job that I have right now, because my work is 30 minutes away from where I live at highway speeds. So I should sell that so that I can join your business? Not only join your business, but pay you so that I can be a part of your business. I'm glad the other dude had a success story, but that is the worst way to sell a business to pitch your business to somebody. My business is so good, you should sell your car so you can be a part of it. The car that is the only reason that you're able to live in the apartment you live in, and the only reason you're able to afford the food that you can afford. The only reason you can keep paying for an education. You need to get rid of that, because this is better than anything else you're doing. Now, I haven't always made the greatest decisions in life, but neither has anybody else. We all struggle with different things. But unless, for most people that are trying to figure things out on their own, financial independence is hard, and job opportunities are always something you're looking for. You have ideas of businesses to start or people to work for, education you want to get. I like talking to people. A couple people have always have said something along the lines of I could sell most anything. So I'd be chill with having a job where I sold whole food supplements and stuff like that, all natural dietary stuff and whatever. It'd work well with a community that I like to be a part of, the whole fitness industry and stuff like that. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt right now for my first ever powerlifting event I went to. Like I'm part of that in a small sense. I am part of that community and I like being a part of that community. And it would be cool to be able to make money as a member of that community. But if you're pitching a business to somebody, specifically a job, if you're pitching a job to somebody who's honest with you about the fact that, look, I don't have a ton of money, you need to guarantee an investment in me in order for me to invest my time. Because this is something I've learned as I've gotten older is your time is valuable. I had this discussion with the owner and the trainers at the gym I work at. They were lowballing all their prices, especially when it came to personal training costs. And I'm like, you guys, I sat down with them and I told them, I'm like, you guys have all these certifications. You are certified coaches, you're certified trainers, you have a master's license for this kind of training, you have an adaptability license for training, all this cool stuff. Why are you charging like $15 a session? Like, why? Your time is insanely valuable. You're picking up more clients, but you're not charging nearly enough money to cover your expenses. And eventually, after a few weeks of discussion, they did increase their prices. And now it's working better for them because they realize that their time is valuable. And I've started to realize that too. So, under that assumption that my time is valuable, you don't tell me that I need to sacrifice my time with no guarantee on return, and I need to get rid of my only source of income, basically. That's not how you pitch a business, especially to a college student, especially people in circumstances like me. Every other person that was in the group that was getting this idea presented to them or pitched to them, however you want to phrase it, every single one of those people, most of them were married. Most of them were either in a dual income household or they were fortunate enough that they didn't have to work because whoever their spouse was made more than enough money to provide for the family. The risk factor for those individuals is a lot lower than it is for me. So maybe this pitch works with those individuals, but you are making this pitch to me, my risk factor is so much higher than any of those other people. So I'm sorry, but no. If you're trying to pitch a business to somebody, you're trying to get somebody to buy into your business, to be a salesperson for you, first off, lead with what it's going to cost. One of the things I learned working at multiple gyms, specifically the last gym I worked at, a gym called Brute Strength Gym, which is also where the competition from my shirt, that's where it was. Amazing gym, amazing people. Something I learned from the manager. I had already worked at another gym previous to this job. And when you work at the front desk of a gym, part of your job is you sell memberships to people. And while I was working at Brute, after I had shown a few people around and sold a couple of memberships, the manager, Stella, who is awesome, came up to me and told me, look, you need to be more direct with people. You need to be more upfront with people. You need to stop hiding the whole money factor from potential clients. I was like, what do you mean by that? What exactly do you mean? And the way at least I recall her explaining it to me, she probably explained it a little differently. I need to stop saying as well. But the way I recall her explaining it to me is, we are the best. As far as any of these people know, we are the best. We have what they want. And people will pay for the best. People will pay for what they want. You lead with the expectations, and then you show them the benefits. That was the word I was looking for. You lead with expectations, and then you show them the benefits. You don't show them all the benefits and be like, oh, and by the way, it costs like $60, $70 a month unless you sign a contract, and then it's only $45 a month, but you have to pay for a whole year, and there's no backing out of it. No. You're upfront. Having heard about this, at least back at home, working at this gym. Hey, I heard about this gym. I wanted to come in and check it out. Awesome. Welcome to Brute Strength Gym. We specialize in this, and it costs this much money to train here. Sometimes you don't even leave with, we specialize in this. Be like, I wanted to check out pricing and check out the gym and see if I like it. Awesome. Well, the pricing is going to be this, and for your money, you get this. Not, hey, look at how cool this could be and what you could do. Oh, and by the way, you have to pay us a membership. So, I know that I'm probably one of the least qualified people to talk about this because I've never pitched a business. I've only worked for other people. This is as close as I have to running my own business, and I'm working on it. But in my experience, you don't ask people for money with no guarantee. Even if you like to watch those shows like Shark Tank and stuff, from the few clips I've seen, I haven't watched a ton of them, but from the few clips I've seen, none of them will invest in a company that isn't already making some sort of income. There's a return on investment. I will invest in your company because I know that investing my time will benefit me. It's not, hey, invest in my company, and if you play your cards right, you might make a little cash. So, if for some strange reason any business owner hears any part of this and is wondering what I'm on about, basically, guarantee that you will invest in your employee before the employee has to invest into the company. Okay? You guarantee, hey, I'm going to invest in you. Now, with this investment, will you invest your time in my company? And the answer is going to be either yes or no. Not, hey, I want you to invest your time and your money in my company, and I don't know if there will be any benefits for you. The worst way to go about it, in my opinion. Well, that's been my rant for the night. Thank you for tuning in to my third episode. And I blasted 2 of these episodes out in 1 week, and then I took like 2 weeks off, and I don't know what I'm doing with this podcast. Hopefully, I'll get more out, especially with the fact that I'm trying to stream every day for the next 25 days in the attempt to get 25 subscribers for my 25th birthday, which is at the end of the 25-day period. So, if you like what you hear, please follow the channel, and also subscribe to the channel as well. If you have Amazon Prime, your subscription is free to the channel every month. It helps me out more than you know, and it lets me keep making shows like this and doing all of that. Plus, I won't have to put really long sponsor ads at the beginning of everything if you're subscribed to what's happening. Anyways, that's it for tonight. That's been what's been on my mind for the past few days. And I'll see ya next time. So, let's cue the music.